Welcome back to another episode of the Premium Pete Show. Finally, well, first off, let me say this. That we're in an undisclosed location of this man's house right here, okay? But you don't know where it is, and you're not going to know where it is because, that could be a problem. But I'm thankful that we finally get a chance to sit. This has been a long time in the making.
Long time.
Actor, writer, teacher, pianist, musician, right?
Yes.
Dear friend, Vincent Curatola, many known as Johnny Sacrimoni from The Sopranos.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, you heard of him?
I heard of him.
Law and Order.
Yeah, that too. I heard of that. Yeah.
Plays.
Right. On the stage.
Freemason.
Yes, Mason. Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Internet's Vincent Curatola.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be here with. It's Pete, right?
Yeah. It's Pete. Yeah, we got to remember names. Listen.
Mm-hmm.
When I say this has been a long time in the making, a lot of people I feel like haven't seen a full-blown conversation. I don't want to say interview with you. A lot of what I've done and have done over the years, not only with just soprano or actors, we done with Federico Furio,
Yes.
which was beautiful,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Praval, a couple other people. Anyway, a lot of people don't get a chance. People become, with streaming these days, there's a lot of younger fans of The Sopranos,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of older fans.
Right.
But a lot of people don't get a chance to know who these people are.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, believe it or not, some people care. So we're going to take them all the way back. Vincent Curatola, born where? In Jersey?
Englewood, New Jersey, northern Bergen County.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And both lived with mom and dad, right?
Let's see. Yes, my mother's parents, who were business people, and my father had built a very big home, and we lived there for many years together. It was wonderful because I had, you get your parents and your grandparents. So on a Saturday night, you couldn't wait for your parents to go out to some affair.
Sure.
So you get spoiled by your grandparents.
Yeah. And
I loved it.
And and grandparents always, they know how to spoil you because they could just leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't have to stay there and deal with all the bullshit.
They don't. But they lived with us, so they just went to another part of the house. But I was a good kid.
What do you mean
They
by
wanted
that?
to be around me.
What do you mean you were a good kid?
I was I was very polite.
Okay.
I was very polite. I was very quiet. I was good in school, and I always had little projects to do. I had a three-story tree house that I built. I had all my model cars. That was a fascination for me. I had all these cubby holes in this really big house, so I kind of felt like I was, I was a kid in the candy store. It was wonderful.
And what did mom do?
My mother helped my father, who ran a very big masonry company back in the days when, after the soldiers came home from World War II, there were huge developments in Bergen County, similar to Levittown and Long Island. And my father had the masonry contracts for literally a few thousand homes, literally. So, and my mother, of course, helped him with payroll, insurance, such and such. And her parents owned an embroidery and lace company in Hudson County.
So as a young kid, your parents, if you think about it, were entrepreneurs.
Oh, yes.
Even though by trade, Mason, right?
Mm-hmm.
But running their own business.
They were
right?
business people.
Her handling the accounts payable, so to speak.
Everything.
What did that do to you? Did that inspire you?
It inspired me quite a bit.
Yeah.
It really did, because I knew from a very young age that I had to have my own thing. I'm not the type, I don't think I would have been good taking orders. So what I did was, when I was 19, I want to say, yeah, I put an ad in the paper that I fix sidewalks, I fix retaining walls, I build patios and blah, blah, blah. And customers gradually started to call, and I had a couple of men working for me part-time in the beginning because I didn't have enough work for them. But I thought I was on my own. I didn't care. If somebody would have said to me back then, listen, you can go get a job and make a ton of money working for whatever corporation, I would have said, no, I got to be the guy.
Sure.
Sure.
Now, a lot of people look back at relationships, especially men, with their fathers.
Mm-hmm.
How would you say your relationship with dad was? And the reason why I asked this for is especially like when I think of my father, right? Great guy. But his father was, came from Italy, drank a lot. I don't think they showed a lot of emotion. So the point I'm making is, even me, my father was a good guy, but I don't remember getting hugs all the time or saying like, I love you like so much. because I think about it, maybe their parents didn't tell them that all
Yes,
the time.
that's a good point.
You know?
My father was very quiet.
Yeah.
So when my father spoke, it was like E.F. Hutton. Everybody would listen.
Like Johnny Sacramone.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, good point. But that's how he was. And he was an incredible businessman, very quiet. You never know who he was. Very humble. And my mother, the same thing. But my mother was my mother should have played the part of Johnny Sack. Yeah, because she had that personality. That's where I get it from.
Yeah. Now, what would you say is, some of the key memories and moments you remember of Pops? Like, meaning like, when you take away like what you learned from him or what inspired you? Or...
I learned how to be honest, but I have to tell you, I would never, I would strive to be as good as my father in his heart, because I carry grudges where he was the type to say, it's okay, relax.
Yeah.
You're okay today. Forget about last week and that type of thing. I only wish I could aspire. I do aspire to it. And, over the years getting older, yeah, you get better at it. But a lot of the things that went on, my mother was 39 when she died. So she was born on the 1st of September, died on the 13th of September, 39 years later. I was 14. I just turned 14. And it's funny you mention that, because it was somebody from the Washington Post interviewed me some years ago and said to me, well, where does Johnny Sack come from? I said, well, the script, they wrote him and, No. Where does he come from? And he comes from the day of my mother's funeral, on a beautiful September day like today, which I think back then was the 16th or 17th of September. Incredibly beautiful, beautiful day. And I remember looking at her casket as we were about to bring her to the church. In those days, they had what was called high requiem masses. And I remember looking at that bronze casket, and for some strange reason, anytime once I was cast on Sopranos, whenever I was going to have a really tenacious battle, let's say with any character, Tony Soprano, Ralph Cifaretto, whatever, I would picture that casket. And then something happens. It's anger, it's regret, it's whatever. And it starts to come through in the dialogue. That was my trick. That was my ace in the hole that I would use all the time.
It's special here. And, I've sat down with a lot of people over the years, and most of the time they lost their father at a young age, or they didn't have a father. And I like to touch on that only because people don't realize how growing up without a father for a daughter or a son, how much that affects them. Growing up, literally, you're 14 years old, growing up without a mother.
Yeah.
Was that a hard thing for you?
Yeah, it was very difficult. Luckily, my grandmother, her mother, was only 60, 62 when this happened. And by the way, my mother was an only child. So for my grandparents, this was thorough devastation. But as I said, we were very close to them because we all lived in the same house. And so my grandmother stepped in very quickly and actually became my mentor in business, my mentor in just in life. So I was fortunate enough to have a female care about me, but the anger that you harbor because of cancer and because of, everything that goes along with it. And it's something that I talk about in our acting workshop, is that, you have to think about something. Something's going to spur you when you're working on a character. Something is going to get you. Something is going to help you. And that whole thing with my mother, I think, was my loaded gun, really,
Which helped you in your career?
Hopefully, yeah.
Pops, ran obviously an amazing business, done very well for himself, passes it on to you or teaches you to trade. You start doing well in it. When
I was a lot smaller than my father's company.
Of course.
I was like 3 guys. He was 43, but that's okay.
But you learned a lot. When do you think you made Pops proud?
When I became an actor.
Okay. Do you remember that exact moment?
Close to it.
Okay.
Close.
Take us down that.
Oh my God. I did not want to go to the Sopranos audition.
Well, actually, I don't want to cut you off,
Go
but
ahead.
is this because I want to make sure that we put your dear beautiful wife Maureen?
Yes.
I heard a story, and she actually corrected me. Thank God, because now I know.
Mhm.
But I heard a story that for her birthday, right, that she asked you to take an acting class or something like that for her birthday. I found that amazing. She turned to tell me that it wasn't the case, but it was the case that she called up somebody. You want to tell this story? But
Yeah.
it's an amazing story, to be honest.
Okay. Maureen's birthday is the 29th of June. God bless my beautiful wife. And I had, I'll tell you this. I remember distinctly. We just had dinner at home, another place where we lived. And I don't know, I just had a very frustrated evening, very frustrated night. And it was early evening. And I said, I'm doing this. I'm running the business. I don't know. I want to do something. I want to do something. I want to do something. She said, well, what is it that you want to do? I said, I want to be an actor. I swear to God. It was just like that. At the time, I'm 38 years old. Okay. I want to be an actor. But then, I'm so pragmatic, Pete, that, people call up for an estimate. I got to go give them an estimate back then, or I got to go pick up a check. We finished the job. Now they owe me money. Who's got time to go study acting? And there was someone who had a couple of classes locally. I went a few times. And Maureen said, Michael Moriarty teaches acting. Michael's a fabulous actor. The star for first five seasons of Law and Order, and won a Tony on Broadway, won 3 Emmys. He was up for Best Supporting Actor with Clint Eastwood for Pale Rider. And I go into New York. I got to go to New York, which I used to hate going to New York. I lived in the edge of New Jersey. Anyway, I went. It was a Wednesday night, 6:00 class. I walk in, and it was in his gorgeous pre-war apartment diagonally across from Carnegie Hall. So I walk in, and there's, all these other students, 25, 30 students. And I looked at the far end of the room, and I see some guy playing the piano. I'm going, oh, wow, that's Michael Moriarty. Yeah, I guess it would be. I'm in his house. And it was stunning to me that, wow, this is a real actor. This is a real, I was starstruck. I went to the class. I didn't say boo. I didn't say a word. Everybody else got a monologue scene. I didn't even know what a monologue was. That's no exaggeration. I went the following Wednesday night. Finally, I started to talk a little bit, and it was really, because Maureen, I think, has always felt, she said, you watch all these old films. You love the way these actors work, and you must want to do that. Yeah, I'd love to do it, but I had done 2 plays when we had just gotten married, but they were like in the woods. Then I put it out of my mind. Yeah, that was fun.
Sure.
But I'm not going to pursue whatever the hell this thing is. So he was gracious enough to get me an audition for Law and Order in 91. And I had 3 lines playing a court clerk. But it got me my SAG card, which is gold. You have, you know the routine. So I continued there for a while. After a while, I started to run his place because he was off with Law and Order, and I would take the attendance of the students, and they had a substitute teacher. So now I'm saying to myself, okay, it's feeling a little bit more real, but He said to me and some other people, write a 5-minute script, story, sketch, whatever. So I did, but I couldn't stop writing it. So it turned into a very sweet guy owning a funeral home in Brooklyn, degenerate gambler who owes a lot of money to a Shylock called Dearly Beloved.
Probably 5 points at that time.
Yeah, it was a lot. So I had met Tony Sirico in 92.
Junior.
Yeah, they call him Junior. God forbid I should call him Junior. I don't know what the hell would happen to me. Some people can get away with that, though. Vinny Pastore gets away with it.
Yeah, he does.
I think Armando Sante gets away with it, too. And in the event, so a friend of mine said, I'll direct it. Let's put up some money. And we filmed Dearly Beloved, which is a half-hour comedy about this schnooky funeral home guy with a heart of gold. And either I got to marry Sirico's very homely sister who you never see on screen, or I got to give him my funeral home because I don't have the money. We did that in 94. And I think we won an award. So we won something on Houston Street, the theater. I forgot the name of the place anyway. So then Sirico says to me 6 years later, no, I'm sorry, 4 years later, he said, I got cast on something called The Sopranos. I said, oh, good. I felt badly for him because I wanted to see him work. I was fine. I had my business. I'm okay. So he starts working. In 98, they went into full production. And I had a little manager at the time, a woman. I think I was her only client in Manhattan. And she said to me, oh, there's this character in this thing called The Sopranos. I said, I heard about The Sopranos. I got a friend of mine's working on it. Well, his character is Johnny Sack. Yeah. And what? She said, well, I think you should go in for it. I'm going to call them. And I don't know. I was really not certain about anything at the time. I had just done a little NBC movie of the week with Chris Noth called Exiled.
When you say not certain, you mean just not sure you could do it?
I was no. I wasn't worried about could I do it. First of all, the breakdown said that this guy, Johnny Sack, is 70 years old and he wears multiple little sweaters and a little cap and he's a mob guy. I said, yeah, at the time I'm, 43.
Yeah.
So she said, no, I want to send you in for it anyway. Okay. I blew the first 2 appointments.
What do you mean you blew them? You didn't show up?
I didn't go.
Oh, why
she made the appointment. I said, no, I can't go tomorrow.
Why?
She made the second appointment. I said, no, I can't because I'm working on this thing called Exile. I had 2 lines. It was in Staten Island. Now I got to leave. I got to go to Manhattan for the, So finally, on the 3rd round, I said, okay, what time tomorrow? 4 o'clock. All right. So I went. It was on West 72nd Street. It was a satellite office of casting. So I just got there on time. I get out of the cab. I said to myself, I'm tired of rushing around. I'm going to stop, smoke a cigarette. So I lit a cigarette. I walked around a little bit. And I'm walking farther and farther away from where I'm supposed to be. I lit another cigarette. I said, no, I'm already late. I might as well just get back in the cab, get back to the bridge, and go home. Now I'll go upstairs.
Your mind was playing tricks on you.
Wildly. So
go upstairs.
I go up. I walk into the room, whatever the room was. Huge room. One person at a desk in the middle of the room. A woman, and she's got stacks of pictures and resumes, So I walk in. She doesn't even raise up her head. She looks at her watch. She said, you're late. I said, no problem. Okay, I'll go home. I'm good. Like, now I'm released. I can leave, True story. So she said, well, did they, okay, wait. She said, she looks up at me. And she said, sit down. Okay. She said, did they fax you the sides, for the car? Yeah, I have them. Oh, well, let's read the scene. Read the scene. And that was a Thursday, I remember. She said to me, she said, I want you to come back on Monday. I want you to meet somebody. I said, okay, where do I have to go? She said, Long Island City. What? That's like Mars to me,
Silver Cup Studios?
Silver Cup Studios. So I get to Silver Cup. Where me, I'm always, where am I going to park the car?
Sure.
How do I get there? Who do I ask for when I get there? Like, I just build up anxiety like you would not believe, okay? I walk in, there's a waiting room. And they so I looked at the sign-in sheet, and there's like 40 names, 45 names, 50 names. What are they in for? Johnny Sack, Johnny Sack, Johnny Sack, Johnny Sack.
Anyone we would know?
Not that I remember. No. Well, I'm going to give you a note on that.
There you go.
So I'm sitting in the waiting room and I'm listening, and the walls are paper thin, and I hear these other people in there for like 6-7 minutes doing the dialogue, that I've got in my hand as Johnny Sack. And I hear them screaming. Every one of them screaming. Hesh really should get more than that because Tony Bop, but boop, 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 beep, beep, beep. And I said to myself, well, I'm not going to do that. They've already heard that. I'm going to do something different. So when it was my time to go in, sat on the couch, and there's about, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, 12 people on chairs. I didn't know who David Chase was. Nobody did. I didn't know who Alan Taylor was, the director of the episode, whatever. They said, and the producers were there. They said, okay, you ready? Yeah, I'm ready. So whatever it was, the line. And then I said, well, I really think that Junior's got a point there. As far as Hesh is concerned, whatever it was, okay. And I remember them leaning away from their chairs like, what the fuck is he talking about? Can you hear? I don't know, Bill, can you hear him? I don't know, Fred. I really can't hear him. And they knew it. I felt it, I said, could you just do it one more time? Yeah, no problem. So I did it again. I kept my voice extremely low because I looked at it this way. If you've got power, and this character had a lot of power, why would I be screaming? So thank you very much. And they're all like, just, how they look in an audition. They look like this. So next morning I got a call about 11 o'clock from my manager. Said, they want you to play the part.
Really?
Yeah.
Just like that?
Just like that. I said, okay.
But wait, you were slated only for like 3...
One episode.
Okay.
No, one episode.
Okay.
This was a one-off character.
Okay. Which turned out to do 33?
30-something episodes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, right. So what happened was then, they said, well, you got to come into a wardrobe. And I said, now I got to drive to Long Island City again.
Oh, my God.
And then 4 days after that, well, we're having a table read. You have to have a table. I got to drive to Long Island City again. I'm not Davy Crockett.
Yeah.
I don't like leaving the house.
Yeah.
Okay. Especially when I don't know where the hell I'm going. So did the table read, and then a couple of days later, my stuff came up, and my location was the Brownstone in Patterson, and then the fake pork store in Harrison, whatever it was. And that was it. Okay, now the show had not come on the air yet, so I said to myself, yeah, good, I just did a cable show. Big fucking deal, Show came on the air months and months later, January of 99, and then my episode was number 6, so I had to wait a few weeks. And I looked at it, of course, when it came on. I said to myself, well, kind of an interesting character. That was it. And then the show became a huge hit. 11 months later, they called me. And they said, well, can we clear you for 3 episodes out of 13? I said, yeah, I'm not doing anything. Fine. That's how it began. That's how they began to build the character. And then in 01, they offered me a full-blown contract. I became a series regular.
Why do you think that they had, they didn't have Johnny Sack slated for that, that much?
Well, that's the note I was going to tell you about. The guy who wrote that script by the name of Frank Renzulli.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Renzulli created the character of Johnny Sack. And then, of course, they have to go to David Chase for approval. And so, Frank is an actor. So Frank apparently said to David Chase, well, okay, so I guess I'm playing Johnny Sack. No, you're not. The guy wrote it, and he is an actor. No, you're not. We already cast someone, blah, 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 whatever it was. And I felt badly. I only met the guy once. I felt like hell. And he had written another episode in the second season where they brought me in. And he's on the set because the writer of each episode has to be in the hole, as they say, all day. Mm. And I'm looking over at the guy and saying, oh, shit, he wrote it and I'm playing it. I feel lousy, But that's the way this business is. And, obviously it progressed after that. But the one thing I have to say to David Chase's credit, well, quite a few things, but anyway, no one ever came to me and said, this is what we think Johnny Sack is. This is what we think he would sound like, or he would look like, or he would whatever. They really left me alone. So they let you play it? They did. They let me play it.
Did you improv anything?
Oh, no.
Okay.
You're not permitted to.
Yeah, so that's why I asked that, because the only person I ever heard of being able to improv anything were 2 people. and one was Furio Federico. But he had just added some Italian stuff at the end of, on, and then Sirico, Tony Sirico, he had told me that there was a couple of parts he said, and they were like, "Could you say that again?" He's like, "I don't remember. I just said that off the top of my head."
Right.
And they loved like that one. But you're right. I heard they don't. If anyone improv anything,
no, God forbid.
Yeah,
that would be, first of all, it's insulting to the writer. Secondly, they just feel that whatever they wrote is perfect for the moment, and that's what they want to hear. No, you could. Matter of fact, one day, I don't remember what season, one morning, I had a meeting with Tony Soprano and Johnny Sack and Tony Soprano in the New Vesuvio restaurant, which was on set by that point. They had built it on set. And there was an Italian word that Jim had to say. So, you don't rehearse. They do it for blocking, lighting, go back to your trailer, you hang out. You know the routine. Come back in.
Sure.
So I'm walking to the set with Jim. I said, Jimmy, you know that word you say? I don't remember what it was. The Italian word. He says, yeah. I said, it's the wrong word. No. I said, no, it's the wrong word for whatever the hell. I can't remember what it was. He said, okay, let's go to Terry. Terry went there,
yeah.
Wrote the episode, so he had to be in the hole. So we walked up to Terry, and right away, Jimmy throws me under the bus. Vince says that's the wrong word. That's not the right word, Terry. What are you talking about? No, Vince says I don't speak Italian, but Vince does. That's the wrong word. He says, so I guess we're going to change it, right? Terry went, no, we have to call David. So from the set, they had to call David Chase. I think he was upstairs in the office. Right away, now it's Terry Winter. Vince says it's the wrong word in Italian. Jesus Christ, can't you, well, what's the right word? Then I gave him the right word. And David Chase okayed it to be rewritten and whatever. But that's how specific they were. You could not trail off a sentence or add something to the tail or whatever. Nothing, zero. You could do nothing. But that was the beauty of it. I think that when you're given something that's so specific and you can hopefully are able to deliver it, you feel good about it.
Sure. Federico, who played Furio, let me know that he actually went and played. God, why am I having auditioned for Johnny Sack?
He did,
which is crazy. And he says, I don't know how right this is because. He said it reminds him of like a guy who was like a John Gotti type. I forgot how he was saying. He was saying something like, I have a ponytail. Yeah. This guy's more of like
and he was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was younger, and they picked me. I was younger than the character that had been written. But I don't know. They saw whatever they saw, but he did. No, Federico did audition for the role of John Sacramone.
Yeah. When you think about The Sopranos, and I mean, there's so many characters, and I don't only mean that in the sense of like people, meaning it's like so many moments, so many times. When did you really realize that, they were onto something? And I'm going to tell you why I say that for is because as an Italian, I remember when it just came out, I was like, I hope this is not like some cardboard gangster shit where it's like, hey, yo, what are you doing over there?
Good point.
And then when I started to watch it, I mean, look, it was like the Super Bowl Sunday every Sunday. Yeah. We would make like, special foods and run home. I remember literally driving home to make it home in time to watch it. And we would have a whole spread of different things. And, like we look forward to it. So obviously it became to be a staple, iconic. But when did you realize that? Because I'm sure for a while you're thinking like, hey, I'm just acting, right? No? Don't get pragmatic on me, Mac.
I didn't realize it for years, if you want to believe that.
But how? But how didn't you?
What?
You're in the street. People weren't taking pictures with you?
First of all...
You didn't realize from that?
Yeah, no, yes. But that's an out-of-body experience.
Okay.
That's not like, you go into the bank on a Monday, and 12 people are staring at you. And you're saying to yourself, oh, yeah, The Sopranos. That's what it feels like. To this day, that's what it feels like. Only because when you're working, you don't. I don't know. I never got the impression that so many people watched it, even while we were in production. I mean, yeah, we were hired to do multiple personal appearances, Vegas, California, Connecticut, whatever. So obviously, you got 1,500 fans in the room. You go, yeah, they watched the show. But to know now that it was millions every Sunday, I mean, that's an incredible thought. It really is. But while you're in production, if you start to think about that, you're in trouble. Because the next week when you go back on set to start another episode, you go like, gee, you think they'd like if I sat this way better than if I looked at, if you're going to feed into that, you're going to wind up with a problem.
Sure.
So,
for people who don't know David Chase, and there's a lot that don't, they know of him, they don't know him. And what would you say? Who is David Chase?
I have no idea. I swear to you, I have no idea who this man is.
I mean, a genius at some point.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt, a genius. But to know him, no, I've spoken to him, obviously. Not a heck of a lot. We used to have actors come in who, they were only going to be in maybe 1 or 2 episodes. And I remember somebody walked up to me, I don't know who the hell it was, early one morning at the craft service table, and I'm getting coffee and a bagel, whatever it was, and somebody came up to me and said, oh, I just passed David Chase in the hallway, and I've been working on the show now for 2 weeks, and he didn't say a word to me. And they'd have that nervous look.
Yeah.
And I would say, you're very lucky. I am. Why? He'll only talk to you when you're about to die. So apparently you're going to be around for a while. So don't worry about that. He didn't say good morning. But no, I've had, I don't know, minimal conversations. Not that I ever avoided him. He just wasn't the kind of guy that you'd run up to and say, "Oh, come on, let's go get a bagel."
Let's get
that ain't happening.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
So you never.
No, I don't try. I'm not one to come in on you that way. Anyway,
You mentioned before that there's an out of experience, and you didn't know how big it was. You have a son. When your son was growing up, he didn't have his friends or anybody be like, "Yo, your dad's Johnny Sack." Or,
yeah.
Did that ever happen?
Yeah, yeah, a lot, all the time. Still happens now. People sometimes. Matter of fact, he went surfing in Ireland years ago, and he went to go pay the tab in a pub, and the bartender saw Curatola, and he went, "Wait a minute, is it possible you could be related to that actor?" And that's just from an Amex card.
Sure.
But my son's very cool about it. My whole family's very relaxed about it. And none of them fear me in my home, which is very sad.
well, even listen, things have its perks. I'm sure you were out to eat in Jersey and somebody sent a bottle of wine over.
Many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time. Actually.
The prosciutto is on us.
Yeah, right. The best one of the best ones is you're walking down the street and some guy runs up to you with his cell phone. "Oh my God, he's trying to say, could you say hello to my girlfriend Gina? Because then I'll get lucky tonight." And I'll go, "Hello, Gina. This is Johnny Sack." "No, it ain't." "Seriously, this is Vincent Curatola." "Oh yeah, I hear the voice now." "Oh, that's so wonderful." And the guy's going, "Hey, thank you. I mean, if you need that to get laid, I should go into business.
Listen, you know what? Let's take a quick break.
Okay.
We're sitting here with.
Why, you have to go to the bathroom?
No. It's good to get a break. You know why? When we come back, then we go to the second half when we close out your journey in life.
Okay.
But
my journey in life's going to be closed out?
Well, not here. It was closed out on The Sopranos, not in real life.
All right. Very good.
Internets. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. The one and only Vincent Curatola.
Hey, this is Federico Castelluccio, Furio Giunta of The Sopranos. And this is a stupid fucking podcast. Premium Pete. What the fuck do you know?
And we're back sitting here with my friend, the one and only Vincent Curatola. He's played in a couple of things before, as we known. We already went through a half of an episode already. one thing we didn't speak about is and I think you expressed this a little bit, but you were a paper boy when
Hmm.
you were young. I was a
Yes.
paper boy.
Right. Yeah.
And I heard that, well, you'll tell us, but I heard that there were some famous customers that you
Very
had.
famous people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about your paperboy days.
Okay. So let's see. As I said to you before, I grew up in Englewood, New Jersey, which is northern New Jersey, right near the George Washington Bridge. And I lived on a road called North Woodland Street. Beautiful, a lot of trees, a lot of beautiful homes. My father had built the home when I was an infant. And so I guess I was 12. Yeah. When I got the paper route. And my paper route was just my street, you know. So across the street from me, I had a man by the name of Van McCoy who went on to write a song called "The Hustle," whatever. But he was a Columbia Records recording artist. Wonderful, wonderful guy. Opened up a music publishing company in D.C. after some years. So I had him. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 doors up, I had Dizzy Gillespie, the famous trumpet player.
Mhm.
Directly across the street from him, I had Sarah Vaughan, the jazz singer. Up a little more up the block to the left, in a cul-de-sac, I had Tony Bennett. 3 doors down from me on the other side, I had Jerry Vale.
Holy shit.
Okay, then who was not on my paper route was Wilson Pickett, who lived like over there. Leslie Gore, you remember her? It's my party.
Yeah,
She lived up the road. I only delivered papers to her a few times. But the entire town of Englewood was, the Isley Brothers, Wilson Pickett, who I mentioned, Andre Previn. Oh, my God. Let me think who else. I can't remember his name. Dick Shawn, comedian, comedic actor. Another comic. I can't forget it.
But
yeah, I saw these people all the time, and I remember one Monday afternoon, I saw Tony Bennett riding his bicycle past my house. And I said, "Hi, you're Tony Bennett, right?" "Yeah, how you doing?" "Good, blah, blah, blah." "Oh, you got a beautiful home, thank you." I said, you're on a bicycle." He said, "Yeah, I'm going to Jerry Vale's house. I'm going to have coffee." And I'm thinking, Jerry Vale, I got it. Turns out Jerry Vale's wife was very good friends with my mother. But there was a lot of inspiration in the town that I grew up in. And then when you went downtown to, luncheonette or whatever, you saw everybody.
Sure.
So I kind of said to myself back then, and I love music. I was in a big band, not an orchestra band, but I said to myself, maybe that's going to be my road.
So would you say your first inkling of what you wanted to do would be an artist?
Yeah. Yes.
And then you actually did, and you tell us, but I know that you, I think you did some stuff with Chicago, or you were on the same stage as them.
That's a cute story if you got time.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. We went to some benefit, Maureen and I, at the China Club in Manhattan. Oh, maybe back in 04, 05. I don't know what it was. We were in production with Sopranos. So we walked in, and somebody said, "Chicago's here." I said, "What? The band Chicago?" "Yeah, they're performing tonight at the benefit. Huge stage." I said, "Maureen, I'll be right back." I ran back to where we parked the car in the parking garage. I said to the guy, "Give me my keys." "Oh, okay, give me the keys." I opened it up, and in my console, I had a Chicago album because I loved them. I grabbed the album. I go back inside. When they took a break, I said to the security people, "Can I talk to one of them?" "Oh, yeah, sure." So I go up to them. I said, "Guys, if you don't mind, if you have time, would you sign my album?" And they looked at me. And they said, "You want our autograph?" I said, "Yeah, you're Chicago. Of course I want you." "No, we want your autograph." "What, you watched the show?" I had no idea. You don't realize that people actually sit down and watch you. And I was shocked by it. So they were staying at the Plaza Hotel. They invited Maureen and I to come back and have midnight supper with them. So we're all at this huge table, whatever that restaurant was at the time at the Plaza. And they're humming and they're singing. And so I kind of sang along with them a little bit. And one of them, Walt Parazeta, one of the founders of the band said, "Oh my God, you sing." I said, "No, I don't sing." No. You sing. No, I don't. They worked it out where I would come on stage with them at later concerts where they always say, "Well, we pick someone local to come out and sing a song with us." Not telling anybody it's the guy from The Sopranos. And that's what I would do. I did several concerts.
But what would you sing?
I sang Old Days. I sang Saturday in the Park with them. Yeah.
Where's this footage? Is it out there?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. But I'm going to do more with them next year.
Okay.
Next summer. I
That's
think
breaking
Jones
news.
Beach and probably PNC Arts Center.
You know, I remember seeing a commercial with Tony Sirico and you.
We toasted them.
Yeah, it's like on some TV channel for Chicago.
Yes, I think you can go on YouTube.
Okay.
And it was me, Jimmy, and Sirico, and I don't remember who else. And we toasted their appearance.
It was like a break, like a commercial break.
It was
or
like
something
a commercial break. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, on TV.
They're wonderful people.
You know, do you consider yourself a good singer?
No, I'll tell you what I do. This is what happened. Frank Sinatra Jr. did an episode with us second season called The Executive Card Game. It was a 3-day shot just of a card game. And, we became friendly with he and Tony Sirico and I. So we always stayed in touch. So I went to go see him in Atlantic City 5 years ago. And again, another midnight supper, and I'm humming. He said to me, "You should sing." I said, "Again, you're another guy telling me I'm a singer. I'm not a singer." No. You should sing. I thought about it. I called up a friend of mine who was at the time my jazz guitar teacher. I said, "Can you put a band together?" He said, "Yeah." We did some dates and it worked out well. Of course, COVID shut everything down,
Sure.
Whatever. But I don't consider myself a singer. What I do is when I get up to sing, I say to myself, I'm an actor who's now for 2 hours going to be playing a singer, the part of a singer. So I go into a character.
Sure. That's powerful.
And that's what I do.
You know, if there was any other part you could have played in The Sopranos.
Go ahead.
What would it be?
Drea, no. You know something? It's funny you say that because I think this was the only fit for me. Now that, of course, that I've worked on it and saw so many characters come and go. But I think this was because Johnny Sack is not really very far away from me in the sense that I am very possessive. If I love you, I own you.
Sure.
And if you're going to do wrong by my family or whatever, then nobody can be able to save you.
Sure.
So a lot of that came through, and I felt that it was because I'll tell you something. Each and every time they would hand me a new script, I would look at what they wrote for me and say, "Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, he'd do that. I would do that. He would do that. I would." It was so close that it was really. I'm not going to say it was a walk in the park. I'm not going to demean the art of acting, but it helped with the fact that.
It's
a lot of my
it
personality.
played to the personality of who you are.
Yeah.
You know, even like when you look at like David Proval, I remember the scene, and he spoke about this with me, and a lot of times the scene with Janice when he was having sex with her and he put a gun to her head.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to do that. And I remember him saying that a wise guy wouldn't do that to his wife.
I believe
They
not,
probably
no.
do that to like a guma.
Yeah.
And he fought back with David Chase. And I remember him saying that David Chase says, "Dave, it's a character."
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, but they wouldn't do it." He said, "It's a character."
It's a character. Yeah.
And I tell you, I don't know how true it is, but he feels, and I think David feels this way, who's a sweetheart of a guy.
Yes, he is.
Feels that after he challenged David, rest in peace to Richie Aprile. You know, did you know when you were going to die?
Oh, that's a good story. What happened was we had just started production on the final. They call it, HBO calls it season 6 plus more. I call it season 7. That's a long story. I don't want to get into
Yeah, no
why,
problem.
but anyway. So in the second episode, Johnny Sack, he's had it, you know. So Terry went to call me because he was writing the episode, and he said, "Listen, Johnny is going to become very sick, and he's going to die. Okay, I'm a series regular. I get paid no matter what, so it was cool with me. I said, what is, well, lung cancer. I said, okay. So it is what it is. And I said, listen, I'm on the foundation board of Hackensack University Medical Center. I said, do you need to know anything? Oh, that would be great. So I hooked him up with one of the leading oncologists. And Terry went to meet him, had a meeting with him, and wanted to know what type of medication my character would be on. He'd like to get an idea what he would look. I had 6 makeup changes for that episode. The progression was horrible, you know. But as far as dying, what I did was I died first on my first day of the episode, and then we went backwards to the diagnosis. You know, your head's got to be like in different places all the time, and the makeup changes were accordingly. You know, and I was blessed to have Sidney Pollack as a fellow inmate in the prison hospital. A wonderful guy. And he met me the first morning on set. Oh, hi, how are you? First thing I said to him, I says, what the fuck was it with that 17-minute scene in Eyes Wide Shut with the pool table? Yeah. You and Tom. Oh, he said, I couldn't stand it. Kubrick wanted it long. I said, you must have gone, I would have gone nuts, 17 minutes in one scene. He said, no, you're right. You're one of the few people who ever picked up on that. He said, you know, it cost me $18,000 to get to the set. I said, what'd you do, like take a cab from Kuala Lumpur? What do you mean $18,000 to get here? He said, I have my own jet, and you have to hire a co-pilot. And it's a Citation 10. The guy made money, and he was...
Sure.
And he was, very well off, and deservedly so. Very creative director and an actor. And, no, I felt, you know, I was laying in the bed in the scene, and I looked up into the rafters of the sound studio at Silver Cup, and I imagined like there was a little leprechaun, and I'm flat, you know, and I'm looking up at this imaginary little leprechaun, and he's saying to me, it's okay. Come up here. We have a lot of fun up here. You don't feel good. You're going to feel better when you get up here. And I kind of looked at him, you know, like I wanted to go up there and be up there and have fun with him and, you know, and see my mother. And because that one of the lines was mom, you know, whatever. You know, so many people, God bless them, strangers who run up to me and they say, you know, the acting on The Sopranos was this great, boop. And I said, thank you. But I always say you have to give it to the writers because we only said what they wrote. And their creativity was sublime.
Sure. Terry Winter, especially. I mean, what a talented individual.
Yeah, went on to create Boardwalk Empire and Vinyl. And yeah.
You know, when we think about Johnny Sacrimoni, okay? Mm-hmm. It's funny how so many Soprano fans worldwide, let's say that, worldwide, say nobody smoked a cigarette better than Johnny Sack. Now, you were a chain smoker, but let people know who don't know. I think you quit. Have you quit? How long have you quit?
I quit cigarettes in 2006, about 3 weeks before I shot my final episode where Johnny is still smoking. So I called Terry. As Terry, you know, I quit. No problem. We're going to get you those fake cabbage cigarette, whatever, the horrible things. And, you know, I used them during the episode. But I know in real life, yeah, I smoked. But I mean, I never lit one right off the other, you know.
So that was the writer's thoughts that this guy, Johnny Sacrimoni, you know, who you played, would smoke like that?
Well, you know what it is? The writers were obviously very observant. And we were always at functions together or hanging out on the set together. And they'd see me light up. And in those days, you lit up right on the set during a break. Nobody said boo to you, you know. So that cigarette, as far as I'm concerned, became a very good friend. That cigarette was never going to betray me. I could trust that cigarette that when I lit it and I drew on it, that it was going to relax me, my character. And it became a very good friend. And I don't recall really anywhere in the script ever where it said, well, Johnny lights up. No, I would do it. But
So that was an improv thing, if you think about it.
In a sense, it was a prop.
Yep.
But you have to realize that when you're smoking a cigarette on film, wherever you stop, you can't relight, on the return on when they turn the cameras around. So the prop people would always take a photograph of where my cigarette stopped, and then they would go and cut new ones.
That's incredible.
And then we'd light them on the other end. Otherwise, you're saying, gee, wasn't Vince like down to almost to the bottom, and now he's got a brand new one?
People pay attention.
Oh,
and
I
do.
do.
Yeah. When we speak about improv, and we spoke about this earlier, and you said how like no one improv, and I explained how the only people who did it was like very small.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, Tony Sirico played Paulie Walnuts. Vincent Pastore, who played Big Pussy.
Mm-hmm.
Vincent Curatola played Johnny Sack. The point I'm making is these guys, neighborhood guys, have had their, Tony has been around tons of mobsters.
Yeah.
Vincent, likewise, you. And I don't mean like been around.
I understand.
But what I mean is you see, just like me, like I grew up in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the guys come up with the caddies. I was washing caddies at 12 years old, getting $200. So the point I'm making is, did Terry Winter or David Chase understand that your actions, maybe not the improv, but did they let you like your face, like or this? Because you know that you're in the field. Because I heard even like Scorsese, I don't know how true this is, but I heard that he would have different people and guys come on just to lend a hand or help.
Yeah. Marlon Brando did the same thing in 1956, shooting on the waterfront in Hoboken. He met a kid 14, 15 years old in Lower Manhattan who was filling up cigarette machines and jukeboxes in a bar. And he said to the kid, could you come over here for a minute? I want to talk to you. The kid, Marlon Brando, He said, what are you doing tomorrow morning? He said, well, I got to get up. I got to stock these machines. I want you to come with me tomorrow. Mr. Brando, you want me to come with you where? Well, we're going to get in the train with Eva Marie Saint, and we're going to Hoboken. I'm shooting this movie called On the Waterfront. Figures, okay, going with Marlon Brando. He brings him to the set in Hoboken, and there's Elia Kazan, the director, and says, okay, Marlon, we're ready to go. Who's this? Oh, he said, this is my new friend. He said, well, who is he? What, you brought a friend to the set? Yeah, Al Lettieri, the actor, became an actor. He said, he said, I want you to put him on the payroll. To do what? He said, we don't have a budget that we can, just put a kid on the payroll. I want him with me every day while I'm working. I don't understand, Marlon. What are you talking about? It turned out that this kid was filling up machines for a mobster. They all owned vending machines. And this kid just had something about him that was very gritty, very streetwise. And Marlon wanted him around all day. P.S. Fast forward to 1971, and Paramount is making The Godfather. And this kid already became an actor. And who is he playing? Virgil Salazzo. Okay. This was all about atmosphere. And Brando insisted on having him on the set. The kid obviously became inspired and went from The Godfather on to The Getaway and a lot of other things. Unfortunately, died young at the age of mid-40s, or he would have really, I believe, gone on. But when you talk about expressions, did you say facial expressions and things like that? No.
Yeah.
No.
And you had crazy facial expressions, let's be honest.
I did, especially when people pissed me off. When other characters would piss off my character or disrespect my character. But I could always feel, as an actor, I always feel it coming out of my eyes.
Sure.
you know, where I just feel like I'm piercing through that wall right now. There's fire in my
Yeah.
eyes. And you mentioned being around guys, you know. I have to tell you, I never did any research on anyone in that life. Only because I said to myself, I don't want to stupefy my performance by, gee, I read that, you know, Frank Costello used to put his cigarettes out this way instead of this. I didn't want that.
Sure.
So I stayed virginal when it comes to that. But it's strange because there's a fellow who, when I was 19 years old, I started going to a restaurant in Fort Lee, New Jersey, called Archer's Restaurant. And it was a fabulous Northern Italian, full of gangsters. Full. Okay. And I had not seen him in 30 some odd years. And I saw him a few years ago in his new restaurant. He was the maitre d' at the other one. And he said to me, you know, I watch you. He said, I know that you trained as an actor. He says, you know where you became an actor? I said, no, where? What do you mean, where I became? He says, when you used to come into Archer's and you used to look at those guys and the way you dressed. I was never over the top, but he was right. When I think back and I saw these guys come in with the most gorgeous wives, girlfriends, whatever, brand new cars, something happened to me. And I said to myself, I'm going to remember all this. But I don't know why because I had no aspirations whatsoever at that age of going into acting. But it's true. Because I would start to morph into some of the, for example, you say to a wise guy, hey, John, they never do this. Yeah, what? They never do that. They do this. What do you want? You don't rush them.
Yeah.
And I remembered it. And there were times in scenes where I would just take my time to react to something because if I've got the power, fuck you, you're going to wait.
Sure.
So maybe this guy was right, this restaurant owner.
Got shouts to him.
Yeah.
You know, what would you say for people who are fans of Sopranos? What would you say the camaraderie is behind the scenes? And the reason why I asked that for is like, even as you were leaving, like, was it one big family? Was it one big dysfunctional family? Was it a clusterfuck? Or was it like, even like when you exited the show, you just never seen them again? Was it like a high school or college years and then that's it? Like, what would you portray it to? You understand what I mean?
You know, we spent so much time around each other, the cast, that once my character was done, they only had a few more months to go. But we did so many personal appearances all over the place that we were around each other a lot. Or, go down to Mulberry Street and go somewhere and have dinner, 3 or 4 of us. We're in constant contact.
Sure.
So I didn't miss anyone. People have asked me that question for years. Was it like a feeling of separation? No, because we were always around each other. You know, and then we did a couple other things together. You know, Jimmy did a film in New Orleans that I was in with Sam Shepard and Brad Pitt called Killing Them Softly. And that was years after Sopranos ended. Did another one in Canada, a comedy. I never felt like, now they're on another planet.
Sure.
I'll never see them again. No.
You know, when we speak about James Gandolfini, first of all, his birthday was 2 days ago.
Oh, yeah,
yesterday. Well, when this comes out, probably be about a week or two.
September 18th.
Yep.
Yeah.
59 years old.
Correct.
You and him had such great relationship. More importantly, you and him had so many key point conversations and moments in Sopranos that are legendary for people. Going back and forth, but both respecting each other. You know, gone too young, gone too early, gone too young. A tremendously talented man. I don't think anybody could. You know, obviously, I heard, and for people listening or watching, I heard that Richie Aprile tried out for Tony Soprano. I heard they were going to get Chaz Palminteri. I heard Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
I heard a couple. Let me tell you something. And no disrespect to any of those guys, but nobody knew what this could be. I mean, when he was playing with those ducks in the pool, I mean, I mean, just a, I mean, bigger than an actor, bigger than
perfectly cast.
yes,
Right? Perfectly cast.
and he's missed, and
Yeah, he's tremendously missed.
I mean, without going too deep in it, is there a memory that you remember that is very fond to you that you would share with the world?
Oh my God! Yeah, well, a lot of them. We were at Mohegan Sun, and
Casino.
it was the casino, and we were hired to do a meet and greet. There was about 1,600 people, and so we're up in Jimmy's suite, and it was him and Lorraine and Jamie Lynn and me and a couple other people. And they have those floor to ceiling windows, right? So I don't know what it was. He was kidding around. He came up behind me, lifted me up off my feet. I weigh 240. Lifted me up from my feet and brought me to this fucking window. Jimmy, no! Jimmy, no! No, Jimmy, no! And everybody's like, they're laughing. What the fuck are you laughing at? But I don't know why. I don't know why, but he used to have this way of, or we'd be sitting at a table somewhere at, an event, and I'm quiet. I'm not really a conversational.
You're not boisterous.
No, I'm not at all. And so he would see that I was quiet, and he would take something and throw it at me, at my face, at my hand, at my chest, whatever it was, just to make sure I was alive, And many times, I mean, my Maureen had gotten sick a couple of days before Christmas some years ago. Thank God she's fine. It was a false alarm.
Your wife?
Yep, my wife, Maureen. And so he called me, and he said, "Oh, Maureen's in the hospital." Yeah. Well, I'm coming. No, Jimmy, you don't have to come to the hospital. You're not a doctor. I appreciate it, but, No, I'm coming. I said, okay. When do you come? I'll be there at 4:00. So I had already gone to that. So I go downstairs at 3:45 because I don't want him to get maimed while he's walking into the hospital. Sure. So I go down. I gets out of the car with his wife, Deborah, and he comes upstairs and comes into the room. It's Christmas, So I'm standing at the foot of the bed, and I don't mean to be crude, but I. Like, the band on your underwear when it starts to really bother you, Maureen hadn't been home for a few days, and I don't do laundry. So now I have found old jockey briefs down on the bottom of the drawer, and I don't know how old they were. They were clean. So I put on a pair, and this thing is, I can't stand it anymore, okay? So I took a pair of scissors. And I cut the band like this, I just ripped them. And he's sitting in the chair next to the bed. Go, "What are you doing?" I said, "My underwear is killing me. It's fucking killing me." "What'd you do?" I said, "I cut them, and now my stomach can breathe." And But he would always look at me when I would do something like he thought I was from Mars. Many times. We did a scene in Newark one night, just he and I, a long scene. And when they turned around on my close-up, I just let him have it within the confines of the camera. And when we heard cut, he just looked at me. He said, "You really are crazy." I said, "You're calling me crazy? Are you out of your fucking mind? Look at you." But he always had a way, and I did 90% of my work with him only, at least. But he always had a way of reading me on the set. And he would know where we were going to take this.
Sure.
And I would look at him, and there were times when we would be standing face to face in a scene. And I'm 6 feet tall. He was taller. But as his character is becoming more aggressive, it was like somebody jacked him up and he started getting taller, and now my eye line's off. Like, what the fuck happened to this guy? He's just like, till he's up here. And he's talking down. He had a way. I've seen him actually lay down on the floor on set because the poor guy was exhausted. They worked him like crazy. They really did. He had the ability, he could go lay down in that corner and go to sleep. And 20 minutes later, Jim, we're ready for you. And get up and go right into character instantly. Instantly. He just had that ability. He was a big, huggable bear. Generous to a fault. Stood with us many times. We had some, negotiation problems through the seasons with HBO. And he would always be the one to say, listen, if these guys aren't taken care of, I'm not coming to work. Like, what are you going to do without me? Seriously. But he stood for us. He stood for us each and every time there was a bit of a glitch. Very generous, man.
That's powerful.
Very powerful.
Rest in peace to the legend.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Also another thing you do when we speak about, well, actually, let's get this out of the way. Your wife.
I'm sliding here.
I know, it's all right. Get back up.
Okay.
Get back up. Here you go. Now we talk about
What?
Your wife mentioned this elevator story. So let's get this out. Let's get this out, and then I got a couple of other places to go.
Okay.
Before we wrap this up.
My father was in the hospital in Hackensack, and it was a Monday morning. So he was doing well, thank God. So Maureen and I get to the hospital, and I think you went upstairs first. I don't remember what it was. Okay, so I'm waiting at the elevator. There's like 6 elevators, but it's a Monday morning. They're busy, So there's this whole flock of nurses, and they're waiting for elevators. So I walk over, I'm waiting for the elevator. And one of them looks at me, spots me, and goes, "Oh, you were great last night." Oh, and on cue, these girls go like this. I said, "Oh, you mean the show? Yeah, it was a good episode. Thank you." Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, that's classic.
It was fun. A lot of stuff like that.
We got to go to. Hold on, I got to bring this up real quick because first of all, there's a lot of love. Shouts to Reddit, right? Are you familiar with Reddit?
Yes.
You ever heard of Reddit?
Yes, I am.
So they always show a lot of love, especially for Soprano stuff that I do. But I've seen a whole thread on you. It's called the Johnny Sack Appreciation Thread. You got to listen to this. It says, "Was he anybody else's favorite non-Tony character? I thought he was one of the scariest mobsters on the show, simply because of how calm he normally was. And then when he got angry, he fucking exploded. Guys like Tony, Phil, Paulie, etc. are hot-headed and prone to rage. Johnny Sack's anger comes out of nowhere, and it means something. He also maybe had the best balance between his two families. He didn't cheat on his wife, and he had a healthy and loving relationship with his wife and daughters while still being in a very high-up position. His death was also one of the most impactful on the show for me." And it says, "What are your favorite quotes moment from him?" And you'll get, the 200 grand to insult my wife. What's next, Carmine? You get the fucker for $1 million.
Right.
Now, did you know that somebody, what about, I remember a time when you told Christopher, Michael Imperial, I remember a time when you used to stay in the car.
As far as I'm concerned, you should still be there.
Now, did you think that these lines were going to be something?
No, my God, no. My God, no. I get it every day. Either in emails or Instagram or Twitter, and people quote people on the street quote my dialogue.
Sure.
But I mean, when you're in it, you don't think that, it's not Shakespeare.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Where people, once upon a breed, whatever. No, I never thought it would be, the lines of our characters would become iconic. I mean, I have people who say to me, I'm going to call my friend on the phone and blah, blah, blah. Could you say speak? I mean, when I got the script and I saw speak, I said to myself, yeah, okay, it's another word. But who would think that it would become indelible?
Sure. I mean, look at these people. I mean, listen, you don't get a chance to hear all this. So we're also, besides doing an episode with you, we're also giving you your flowers. And let these people, because
Thank you very much.
It says John was very underrated. A pragmatic. How do you say that? Your
Pragmatist?
word? Yeah, pragmatist. There you go. In the words of Little Carmine, right? It says, "I always thought he was arguably the series' most pivotal character." Think about that. One show you were for. I want you to think about that. Yeah. This is what people are writing after. It could have been one show. Goodbye, Johnny Sack. He was always the bridge between New York and New Jersey. crazy that he's a New Jersey guy. The most business-minded out of the New York crew through the Esplanade collaboration. In season 5, his patience with everything started to wear thin, and the fallout from the New York power struggle didn't necessarily strengthen his ties with Tony. I'm sure behind the scenes, John and Phil began to bend each other's ears, setting up the beginning of the end for New Jersey. And he says, I always love his reactions, how in season 4 onward, he started yelling many of his phrases. All of a sudden got a goddamn opinion. What is this? The fucking UN now? But you had to think one of these were at least fucking classic.
I get that all the time. UN is one of the famous. I mean, most
shitstorm.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. I get people who say, "Would you? If I call my brother-in-law, would you?" No, I'm not doing that. But whatever. No, but like I said, when you're in it, you don't think about it.
Sure.
You also don't. Yeah, you knew people were watching it, but to the degree. But now we have people, who are 17, 18, 20 years old, run up to me and say, "Oh my God, Johnny Sackman." What? No, I'm watching it now. I couldn't watch it when I was a kid, last November
at Sopranos Con.
Well, a week before, I was in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Oh, that's right. You went down there
with Vinny
Vincent
Pastore and Federico.
And Federico, yeah.
Some promoter sent us out there.
How many people were out there?
Thousands.
Could you believe that?
And we're 6,500 miles away from home. We're in a Muslim country. And kids running up and, you sign a picture for them. I can't tell you how many. Who do I make it out to? Mohammed. Okay, Mohammed. Next kid comes up. Oh, Mr. Johnny Saxo, could you sign a picture of me? Yeah, no problem. Oh, could you pick Mohammed, my good friend? Another Mohammed. Let me write Mohammed over there. I mean, we're a quarter of a way across the planet. I said, wait, how big is this show? It's amazing.
It's crazy that you're still saying that after all these years. It goes to show you the purity. And I will say this firsthand. People like Federico Castelluccio, who played Fiorio, yourself, who played Johnny Sack, David Proval, who played Richie Aprile. I mean, I could keep on going on. Nothing like their characters. Tremendous hearts, tremendous, just beautiful people, nice people, sweet people.
Talented people.
Yeah, talented people. And it's very special to see. When you start thinking about like who likes the show, who didn't like the show, or who knows, it's really crazy. You think about how you were, and rest in peace to, who played your wife on there.
Yeah.
What's her name again in real?
Denise Borino.
Denise Borino. Yeah. She died at a young age.
Tragically.
Yeah.
I mean, sick. Yeah.
And even how, like, you just, like, the character you had, well, not the character, meaning the character she had, but the camaraderie you had. Think about it. That's normal. That's one thing I think I personally always loved about The Sopranos is that I feel like they brought me into their, like, I was wondering, what are they doing? I wonder what they're doing now. I wonder what, I wonder what they're going to do next.
You missed them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I missed them. And I think that, like some relationships, some women or some men have eating disorders, right? And to see that and then the way people making fun and how you stuck up. I mean, how is even that, like working with that, being a married man and not having like all these gumads, or,
Yeah, no. Well, what happened was, David Chase doesn't telegraph what he's going to do. So you don't know what's happening until they give you the new script. I had no idea Johnny was going to have a wife. I had no idea. And when they cast her, she had shown up at this open casting thing in Harrison, New Jersey, which I understand 18,000 people showed up to. And the police had to shut it down. And HBO, who had their people there, said, well, if we haven't gotten a chance to see you, send your picture and resume to our address in Manhattan, HBO. And then they picked hers out and they cast her. Again, I had no idea I was getting a wife. And so she came in and not an actress at the time, this was brand new to her.
Sure.
And she got through it, she got through it. And I think that she relied a bit on me or whomever else to try to walk her through it, But it wasn't something that, the fact that Johnny did not have a girlfriend set him apart from the other main characters. But I think the reason that again, you look at it this way. If Johnny had cheated on his wife, I think his concentration of being such a practical businessman would have been diminished.
Sure.
And his character would have been diminished in the sense that, oh, Johnny has a weak. Johnny only had one weakness. He smoked.
Like a motherfucker.
That was it.
Chain smoker.
Yeah, that was his one thing. He wasn't a drunk. He was not a gambler. He didn't owe money to Shylocks. And he stood by his wife because apparently, if you go back in the storyline, Johnny says to someone, she was some hoofer when she was younger. She was thin. She was a dancer. I mean, you wouldn't expect Johnny to have a dowdy wife. She wasn't dowdy. The wife was overweight, but he protected her.
Sure.
I think that it's too much of a default setting when you see a lot of these films that have to do with organized crime, that these guys are always with another girl.
Sure.
We've been there. We've done that already. You could write it by numbers. It's not interesting. Tony was a different story. Tony was into instant gratification, and he did what he did. But the fact that Johnny was loyal to his wife, I think really did have a lot to. I get responses. I shouldn't say responses. I get comments from a lot of women. I have for years, Twitter especially, whatever. Oh, Johnny was so wonderful. He never cheated on his wife.
Yeah.
That's the kind of husband I wish I had.
He was a good man.
Yeah, he was a good man.
And a lot of people, I mean, one of the craziest scenes when you came back into the house and found her downstairs with the snacks. I mean, that is one of the, people love that because it was like, I mean, even the way you found her. I mean.
Let me tell you what happened. I left the house. I left my house in my black Mercedes, which I'm going to tell you about that if you got a minute.
Yep.
That's an interesting story. So I left my house and I got the radio on. I'm going, oh, shit. I forgot. I had to go back to the house. I wanted to get my father a sweater. I was going to go visit him in Boston. Okay. So I pull up to the house. I walk into that and I say, why is the door open or unlocked, whatever? So that was it for the day. Okay. So what they did was, I want to say it was about 4 or 5 weeks later, we shot the scene of me going down the steps, but they built it in Silvercut. And there's the washing machine, the dryer, So now I'm saying to myself, okay, so it's 4 weeks later. It's supposed to be a minute later. What am I thinking? What's Johnny,
Sure.
So you go downstairs, you find her with the candy, and then she just looks up like this, like, okay, you caught me, whatever. And if you want to see pragmatism and pride, I feel that when I shot that scene, that I was so disappointed in her. Here I am, stepping out for her honor, asking for somebody to be killed, and you're over here, and you're not doing the deal of meal cards, you're not doing the dieting, and I'm out here asking my boss at the time, Carmine, to put a hit permission. I mean, you disappointed me. And that was another moment where Johnny did not feel that he was covered, that he was protected by
Sure.
the people he loved. Because here she is, and she's not supposed to be doing this.
Yeah.
Especially since I asked for, a killing to happen because of the insult.
Yeah. Crazy moments, and rest in peace to her. Gone way too soon.
Yeah.
As we wind this episode down, I do want to touch on a couple things, and one is your teaching abilities and how you have formed and created a workshop where I actually got a chance to see it today.
Yeah.
Amazing, loud and then quiet, kind of like Johnny Sack. Just interesting. What made you want to get into teaching an acting class workshop?
There's something in the Bible. I think it's in Romans. And it says, if you can preach, preach. If you can do something well, share it. And that's my focus with the workshop, which I began 2.5 years ago. And I felt that it would be time for me at this point in my life to add that to my resume, not to feel like, oh, this is another feather in my cap, But I feel that the craft of acting, first of all, let me tell you, I'm not a teacher. I'm a coach, really. I don't believe you can teach. Well, that's a whole nother whatever. But I felt that if I can impart the enthusiasm to other people who are willing, if I can impart the enthusiasm that I have for this kind of work, then I'm doing what I should be doing. And I have wonderful, wonderful students, and they're loyal, and they work hard. They really do their homework, and they come in every week. Some of them are on Zoom because they come from LA and Florida and Canada and wherever else, Washington, D.C. And then I have the ones that are in person with me every week also. But I have to tell you, I remember on my first few episodes of The Sopranos, and especially when they made me a series regular. And, you know, in many scenes you have, you could have 80 extras in a scene in a restaurant or wedding, whatever it is, you know. And I vividly remember, I don't know how I'm going to say this, feeling almost guilty and self-conscious that I had the role of a lifetime. And here are these other actors who maybe would like to be doing what I'm doing. And maybe nobody's ever reached out to them to say, hey, this is the road you should take. You should study. You should whatever. And I always kind of felt bad. I think I did mention it to Maureen, coming home from the set on occasion, saying, I feel funny. I don't feel badly for them because they enjoy, they get paid and whatever. But I kind of felt that, maybe there's something in them that hasn't been seen yet. And why only me? Why can't other people feel this incredible satisfaction of work? And so I'm what's the word I want to use? I want to be accurate. I'm flattered. I'm humbled, actually, that people come to me and say to me, Vince, what can you show me in this craft? And that makes me feel so wonderful. And I love it, and I'll do it until I can't breathe anymore. I don't care. But when I see the faces light up, that they know they've hit that sweet spot in a scene or a monologue, I'm over the moon.
You call yourself a coach, and that's a special thing because people need mentors, people need coaches in their life, people need people behind them just to believe in them, and then people also need a space to do what they do. And that's awesome that you provide that. Actually, it's funny because I was telling you, I think off air, but I would love to see, and we'll see what happens, who knows, but with Sopranos Con, and them going digital with virtual cons, and then also there'll be Sopranos Cons in 2021, God willing. People come back in
April, hopefully.
April, and but I will say this, and this is kind of somewhat news or breaking news, but they are in the talks of purchasing or partnering or acquiring the house that Tony Soprano had, throwing events, possible Airbnb. And also, I could see Vincent Curatola's workshop at Tony Soprano's house one day. I don't know; could be a possibility.
That would be very interesting.
Just to have the aesthetic, the vibe would be incredible because you have done something. Let me tell you something. I really admire you as a person when you talk about being humble and being flattered and feeling for the other person. That just shows, what type of character you are. But I will say this, your family and you probably made some good money throughout masonry through the years. And, maybe the acting didn't make you the most money, right? But what you did is going to live forever, even when you're gone. You know, they always say, you know what success is. To me, success is different to everybody. To me, success is looking forward to something.
Yeah.
But there's also people say success is, to leave something behind
Yes,
that lives
exactly.
longer than you.
Exactly
And,
right.
and you have done that. You know.
Well, thank you, but you know, I'll tell you something. I'm a great fan of Turner Classic Movie Channel, and the students know that. And I was watching that long before I got to this point as an actor. And I'm sitting down and I'm watching a film from 1942 with fabulous actors, and I'm saying to myself, those days that they were on set in Hollywood shooting this, did they think a guy named Vince Curatola would be sitting down in 2020 watching them and being so in awe of them? And I think that's a very special gift. And I hope my grandsons, who are now 12 and 9, which they can't watch it yet, they will. Yeah, it's funny because you go somewhere with them, and then they'll turn around to my wife. They call her Waka. And they say, Waka, why does everybody take a picture with Appa? Why do they want to take they don't get it.
Yeah, sure.
Now they're getting it, you know, because of other things I've done, whatever. But if I could have that when I'm wherever I'm going to wind up, I'm going to feel, my soul is going to feel fabulous.
God bless. That's a beautiful thing.
And just as an aside, a Teamster who worked on our set bought the black Mercedes Johnny Sack drove in the show.
Really?
Years ago. And called me up.
Bought it from you or bought it from?
No, bought it from whatever car company.
How much did that go for? Do you know?
I don't know what he bought it for, but he called me in January, and I know him. And he said, I have the Johnny Sack Mercedes. I said, okay. He said, I want to give it to you. I said, you want to give it to me? He said, yeah, I want it. You should have it.
Really?
So I have it.
Well, I didn't even know
so
that. Is that the one that you, when we were in front of that, with Federico and them, and you pulled up in?
No, that's
That's okay.
the one I drive every day. It's in the
Okay.
garage. But this other one is older, much older. But so I have it. It's being
fixed up.
spiffed up, painted, this and that, whatever. And
That's a beautiful thing.
it
What's
was a
his name? The
beautiful
guy? You know?
Todd.
Shouts to Todd.
Yeah, shouts
Todd,
to
you're a
Todd.
good man. You're a good fella.
Todd from the Teamsters, and you're wonderful, wonderful, heartfelt human being wherever you are. And well, you're local. I'll call you.
Yeah. You know, as we wind this episode down, man, what a
I
journey.
don't feel like winding down. All right.
What a journey.
Look at me in the eyes when I tell you I don't feel like winding down.
Listen to me, Curatola. What an amazing journey you've been on.
Yes.
Right. Let me tell you. Sometimes you don't get a chance to see that or say that or understand that when you're living your own life.
True.
You know, it's been. I mean, even like when you think about Sopranos Con, you got a chance to see all these people.
Oh, it was
I mean, the
amazing.
line that you had for people to get autographs, and
Yeah.
I mean, what was honestly, what was the experience like that?
We had people who flew in from Holland, Australia, England, a lot of people from England. I had people from Ireland, had people from Oklahoma,
Yeah.
you know. And I mean, it was, yes, we had a great line. I had a great line. And for 2 days, you know.
Nonstop.
Nonstop. But the funny part was when you go to the men's room with a security guy, and they stop you. I gotta go to the bathroom. You understand?
You know, it's funny. I was actually walking with David Proval, Richie Aprio, and he's like, "I gotta go to the bathroom." And I says, and one of the guys who worked there, he says, "Hey guys, come with me. I'll help you." So I literally led David like a security guard through, and all you heard was the jacket, and he's like, "I gotta pee, I gotta pee."
right.
So the funny thing is, and let me tell you something. Respect to David again, one of the most nicest guys I ever met in my life.
Very talented.
He's taking a piss.
Scary guy.
Yeah, very scary.
Yeah.
He's taking a piss. I'm taking a piss. He's talking to me. Some guy just comes on the side of him. I'm telling you, some people don't think.
No.
And he's like, "Hey, buddy, I want you to do my show in about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he turned around as he's pissing. And I'm
Right,
like, in my mind, I'm like, so I just turned to her. I says, "Buddy, you realize the guy's taking a piss?" He goes, yeah, the jacket. And I says, "What the fuck? Is this guy crazy?" So the funny thing is, David Proval turns to me, he walks out, and he says, "Yeah, I'll see you in a couple of minutes." And he's like, "Get the fuck out of here." He's like, and he's like, "I only do your show." I says, "No, Dave, it's not like that." He goes, "Yeah, but these guys, they want to,
Yeah.
But you know, it goes to show of how much love there was.
Oh
there.
yeah. I mean, you know, Listen, you know, when someone walks up to you because they recognize you, at that moment, you have to make a very quick decision. You're either going to make this one of the most fucked up moments of their lives, or you're going to make it one of the best moments of their lives.
Sure.
Depending upon your reaction and your attitude to them. Okay? And so it's incumbent upon you as someone who's seen and somewhat known to respect the fact that they ran up to you. You know, there are moments like you just mentioned where it becomes stressful, you know, because you're in the bathroom.
And then you don't want to look like a dick because
no,
it's
you
like,
don't.
It's like if you say something and they're like,
No.
Johnny Sack is nasty.
Yeah, exactly. And I wouldn't want
and he's
that.
not.
No.
And he's not. But
No.
but he's taking a piss and you bother him. I mean, I've seen people don't think. Look, I've been to dinner. I never forget in Del Frisco's with Justin Tuck, who played for the Giants, and two of my other friends.
Mm-hmm.
Guys would come up to him while we're eating and just be like this, like, Justin Tuck, man, how are you, buddy? And he'd be like, like, you know, the guy was just eating. You hit his fork, it almost hit his fucking tooth.
I had an actor did that to me. I was in Montreal. We were doing a film called Nicky Deuce. Jimmy was in it, and me, Imperioli. And so I'm standing outside. I'm waiting for the Teamster to pick me up to bring me to the set in the morning. So I'm standing outside this hotel. It's the old section of Montreal. And, you know, they got the cobblestone. And I'm like trying not to fall down into the roadway because it's all chopped up. And somebody comes up and grabs me from behind, both shoulders from behind, spins me around so I could look at him. He says, okay, yeah, I know. You're tough, right? You're a big mob guy, right? It was James Woods, the actor.
Really?
I said, I never met you. This is how the fuck you say hello? he was in Montreal doing something, White House Down, that movie.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Fucking James Wood.
But, you know, occasionally, you'll get an encounter where you feel a little bit uncomfortable, but, you know, you get through it. But I just very quickly, I got two Tony Sirico things for you.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly. We were in LA at the Four Seasons Hotel. HBO had flown us out multiple times for award shows that, you know, we were nominated for. So it was Saturday night, the night before the show, the award show. And we're at a table off the bar, you know. Tony's on my left. His friend Mike Sullivan is next to him.
Mike Sullivan, yeah. Isn't
Wonderful
that like
guy.
his manager or something?
A friend. Yeah,
okay.
Just a really close friend. And I'm sitting here. So you know how you could feel when somebody's like hovering over you?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sitting down, I'm getting like there's a shadow all of a sudden on the table, you know. So I look up very carefully, you know, I turn, not quickly, just it was the Prime Minister of Great Britain, John Major. He had just left the position, then they had Tony Blair, whatever. So he's smiling and he's got these two bodyguards with him. So I immediately get up. He said, I just want you to know how much I love your show and blah, blah, blah. Your character and blah, blah, blah. I said, oh my God, thank you so much. You know, I shook his hand. So with that, he's looking at Tony, who's sitting there like he wants to get introduced to Sirico. So I said, Tony, could you get up for a minute? Wow, what the fuck you want? Tony, could you just get up for a minute? This gentleman would like to say hello. So he sits down. Yeah, how you doing? Tony, this is the Prime Minister of Great Britain. He looks up at him. He looks up at him, and the guy's smiling. He's very polite. He looks up. Yeah. He looks like that guy. Yeah, okay. He keeps talking to Mike Sullivan. Tony, could just for a moment get up. He wants to shake hands with you. The fuck are you bothering me for? I told you, you look like the guy, all right? Finally,
shit.
I said, Tony, get up. Just like that. Tony, get up. What is it? What the fuck was it? Oh, yeah, it is you. Oh, yeah, it's you. How you doing? He told me it's you, so it's you. Right, how are you? I recognize it. It was hysterical. 2 days later, we won the award. 2 days later, we're on a plane, and we're at LAX, and Tony has a habit, you know, Tony doesn't just talk to you. He does this when he's talking to you all the time, you know. So we get on the plane. Lorraine Bracco's in that aisle. Jimmy's near her, whatever. So I went to grab McDonald's inside LAX, and Tony said, "Yeah, I'll have a hamburger." So I bring it. So I get on the plane, and we're in the first 3 rows, and I look around. There's only one seat. It's next to Tony Sirico. Now I'm looking at 6 hours in the air with him, which I've done many times. And by the time I got off the plane, you would have thought I had a tetanus shot in my left arm because it's up in the fucking air, black and blue. Because for 6 hours, he's telling me things, and he's going like this. Tony, stop already with the sign language. My arm I got home, I put like salve on it to cool it down. He's hysterical.
Oh my! He's
Well,
an
there was
amazing
no
guy.
part written for Paulie Walnuts. You know that story.
No, tell me.
You don't know that story.
No.
Oh, okay, fine. His manager's agent sent him in, looked at the breakdown for Uncle Junior. Calls up casting. He says, "Well, my client Tony Sirico, I'd like to submit him for an audition for the part of Junior." So he goes in. Thank you. He goes in, and he reads for them. David Chase is at the audition, and this is first season, hadn't aired yet. And he says, "Well, thank you very much for coming in, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? We just had Dominic Kinesi. Oh, I know Dominic. I did Gotti with him in Canada. We just had Dominic Kinesi come in a few hours ago, and we're going to give him the role of Uncle Junior. We don't have another role for you to read for." So David Chase says, "But having met you just now, I'm going to write a part for you." And that's how they created Paulie Walnuts. There was no Paulie Walnuts in the original manifestation of this. Tony runs home. He's got the parties. "Oh, this is great. They're writing a part for me." Runs home, picks up the phone, calls Dominic Kinesi at home. "Dominic, it's Tony. You're going to be Uncle Junior." So what are you talking about? My agent didn't call me. I know no such. I was only in there 4 hours ago. No. They told me you're going to be Uncle Junior, and they're going to write a part for me. Thanks. Goodbye, boom. And he hung up the phone. Dominic's now stunned. Calls his agent. "Is this true?" "Yeah, they just called me, Dominic. They're offering you the role." But that's Tony.
Sick bastard.
Funny.
Listen, to be able to be, I was at his house. It's funny. I seen a bat in the corner of his house.
A bat?
Yeah, a bat.
Oh, baseball
like a
bat.
Baseball bat.
Oh, he took it all over years ago.
Yeah, and I said, "What's the bat for?" He says, "I don't need to say nothing. If anybody gets out of line."
Yeah.
And he still had it in him.
No, he's tough. He's tough.
Just
He's a tough guy.
just a great individual. And for somebody, to be honest with you, to be what a journey he's lived.
Oh.
To
My
be,
God.
that's why he says, what do you say? He did some military time. He did some jail time.
Yeah, right.
He said I was half a wise guy, half an actor.
Right.
And here we are today.
Well, you know what spurred him, and I'm not talking out of school because he's talked about this.
Public knowledge.
Yeah, it is. He was away, and a traveling acting troupe came into the prison and put on a play in 1970. 69, 70. So he saw this, and he was enraptured. He said, "When I get out of here, I'm going to be an actor." Got out of prison. Went, I believe, all the way downtown to an acting class that was taught by the actor Michael Gazzo. Michael Gazzo went on to play Frankie Pantangeli in The Godfather and wrote a fabulous film called A Hat Full of Rain. So Tony went to his class. And Gazzo, a street guy, "Tony, you see this cup? Every time when they come in every week for the class, you go around with the cup. They don't put the fucking money in the cup. Tell them, get the fuck out. I don't want them here." And that's how he began.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Tony, man, Tony Sirico, the living legend. But we're talking about, you receiving something from the late great, the legendary, the iconic James Gandolfini, and he, correct me, but how did this go down? He bought certain people watches.
He did was, what Jimmy did was, he had contacted a watch company by the name of Cobalt, and he liked their watches. And what he did was got a hold of the owner of the company and said that I'd like to have some watches made for the cast, for the main cast. So I guess about 15, and then producers, writers. I want to say he must have bought 35 watches. Okay. I'm not going to go into cost because that's gauche, but so this watch is a Cobalt. What he did was we did an appearance. We did a personal appearance at Foxwoods the night before the final episode of the show aired in June of 07. So we did this huge meet and greet, and there were about maybe 8 of us from the main cast, and him, of course. And then we would always go back up to Jimmy's suite wherever we were appearing personally, and we would always have, in the suite would be a couple of bartenders and a waiter, and they'd send up incredible food and whatever. So he went into the bedroom, one of the bedrooms of the suite, and he came out with these boxes, arms full of boxes. And he went over to each one of us and he said, here. So we opened them, and here's the watch. But on the back of the watch is an inscription.
It says 1997 to 2007. Rest in peace. Thank you. JG, The Sopranos.
R.I.P. Weird, isn't it?
So he was basically saying rest in peace to The Sopranos.
Understood, but still.
No, I know you. I'm not telling you. I know you know.
Just strange. Just so strange to use that language.
It's almost like this was like a parting gift.
There was something else Jimmy did. I think it was fourth season. He has a production company called Attaboy Productions, his own production company, which he went on to develop some shows with HBO. And he wrote out a check to each and every one of us in the main cast, which was a ridiculous check. You didn't have to. We get paid from HBO. But he gave us some of the rewards from his production company. I can't tell you how much, but it was extremely sizable.
Mm.
And he just did it because he felt like doing it. Where do you find that? Where do you see anybody do something so magnanimous without being,
That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that with the world.
My pleasure.
And rest in peace, and sleep in peace.
Sleep in peace. When we heard that Jim had passed, I was just coming back from Manhattan. I was in Weehawken, which anybody is.
Yeah, Weehawken, New Jersey.
Weehawken, New Jersey, and my phone rang, and it was someone who I can't mention, but anyway, someone said to me, "Did you hear something about Jimmy?" I said, "No, why? He's in Italy with his son. He's on a vacation." "Did you hear anything about Jimmy?" "No. What are we talking about?" "Somebody said he died." "Really? Somebody said he died?" Because about a year before, there was an internet rumor that he had died one weekend when some bullshit,
I can't remember that.
Okay. So I called someone who would know. And they said, yeah, he, a few hours ago in Rome. Really? Yeah, it was probably a heart attack. It was surreal. It was surreal. I had seen him. We did a fundraiser for Superstorm Standy, but in a Long Island place for some reason. On a Saturday, it was me, him, Sirico, I forgot whoever else. It was about 4 weeks before. And then the week after that, we did Mohegan Sun as an appearance, And he died. What do you mean he died? How could he? Jimmy doesn't die, Certain people don't die,
Sure.
right? So then there was this big hem and haw about trying to get his body back from Rome to New Jersey. That took a long time. And I got a phone call from then Governor Chris Christie. Called me on my cell phone. And he said, "Oh, my God, Jimmy." And he said, when are they flying the body back? I don't know. HBO had gotten one of their planes ready, sent it to Rome. And so this jet sat there and waited for the body to be released because they were going to bring Jim's body back to Teterboro. And there was delay. You know, everything in Italy is, we'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it next week. We'll do it next month, you know. So finally, they measured the outer box because you got a casket, then a box, and then because he's international, there's another box. And unfortunately, they figured out that the box would not fit through the door of the private jet, big jet. Right? So I guess they had to get a commercial flight. So Chris said to me, "Okay, all right, so I'm going to send state troopers to Teterboro, and we'll escort the body back to a funeral home nearby in Park Ridge, New Jersey." I said, I don't know, Chris. I don't know which plane, when it's going to land, where it's going to land at this point. Of course, they brought him back, and he was, you know, they waked him locally. And then the next day was the funeral at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine, in Morningside Heights. Huge.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous. I mean, you could fit 747s inside. You still got room left over to play a football game. Matter of fact, I just found out it's 2 football fields long plus a foot. Big, okay? So they had the invitation list for the funeral. And because we worked with him, and certain writers and producers were invited to come at 9:00 in the morning so we could spend some time before the masses filled in. You know, it was 3,500 people. So they put Jim's casket in an anteroom. Anteroom to them is like the size of this whole street. So I remember I walked up to the casket with Maureen, and they had a drape over the casket. Of course, it was closed. And I leaned down near his head, and I whispered, I said, "Jimmy, what the fuck are you doing here? You're too big to die." It was just like, nah, it's not really him in there. Can't be. It's impossible, you know. And of course, then Chris Christie called me on my cell phone. He said, I'm in Trenton, and I'm getting into a helicopter, and I'm going to helicopter over to the west side of Manhattan. And then, you know, my guys, the state troopers, are going to drive me to the cathedral. And then he got off the helicopter, called me again. I'm out of the helicopter. Now I'm getting into the SUV. Okay. Calls me 20 minutes later. I'm outside the cathedral. So I went out and I got him. I brought him in. He put all the flags in New Jersey at half-mast the day of the funeral, for which he was criticized. Not by everyone, but so he came into the cathedral. I walked him all the way up to, I introduced him to David Chase and Alec Baldwin and this one over there. And he was very gracious. He said, "Please don't call me governor. My name is Chris." And David, he stayed for the whole 2.5, 3 hour, whatever it was, because Jimmy was a Jersey guy, you know. And the funeral was massive. It was really massive. People there, I mean, you couldn't breathe for crying because you just couldn't stop crying. Like, what the fuck happened here? This is impossible. Can't be. This cannot be real. It was real. The aftershock to this day, and it's strange because not even a couple of days after the funeral, I was outside, and there's a lot of land here. You saw it. And I was outside, and I was smoking a cigar one morning about, 10 o'clock, having a cup of coffee. And I see this bird, a red cardinal. They're rare. sitting over here. He's looking at me. And I'm smoking a cigar. I don't know. It was a weird feeling. Jimmy smoked cigars. We smoked them together. I said, Maureen, it's so strange. I came upstairs and someone called here, a woman who's a very spiritual woman. I don't want to mention her name because
it's okay.
But very spiritual woman. She said, Vincent, how are you feeling with regard to all this, blah, blah, blah. I said, for 3 days in a row now, I got this bird that comes outside. And this was in the month of June. And he stares at me while I'm puffing on my cigar. She said, that's Jimmy. I said, I wouldn't doubt it. I just wouldn't doubt it. And it's weird. He's still here. It's probably his great-grandson bird now, but they don't live that long, but it's weird. You feel them all the time. You feel them all. There are times when I'm on set somewhere and I get a feeling like I'm going to have dialogue with him. I'm not. Somebody else. But the guy just has an immense energy that could never possibly be buried in the ground. It's impossible. You can't. It's too big. And I got to tell you something. I didn't study acting much, but what Jimmy taught me and never realized he taught me was a lot about the craft.
Mm.
He didn't know he was teaching me anything, I'm sure. I didn't ask him to teach me anything, but just working with him.
Sure, made you.
Oh my God! Well, look, man. When you want to be a great tennis player, who do you play with? A guy who sucks at playing tennis,
or McEnroe,
right?
Or
Sampras. McEnroe, right? You seek them out. Could you help me out? Could you show me what?
But to have that, is an honor.
It was an honor. It is
because most
honor.
people won't have a Gandolfini or a McEnroe.
No. That's absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct. So, he makes you better. He made you better. Because, you would work with him and then come into the next episode with him again saying, oh, yeah, okay, I got this.
Sure.
I know what direction he's going to go in, more or less, and I'm going to catch it. I'll be okay. He'll throw the ball, I'll catch it. It'll be okay. That's how he made you feel. And humble as the day is long. Humble on the set. Every Friday, if you were working on a Friday, he had a sushi truck come. And don't forget, we have a caterer and we have craft service people. Every Friday, he would have a sushi truck come and just sit there all day long on the lookout, wherever, and just make sushi all day long. All day.
I love him.
All day. Literally tell the PA, production assistant, please, go in my Winnebago and give me my wallet. And bring the wallet. Pull out the Amex card. Boom. Here. I don't know. Close it out at the end of the day. Don't worry about it. But who does that?
It's so amazing to hear that he didn't work for HBO, even though he got paid, say, by HBO. But hear what I'm saying. He was bigger than an employee. You understand? He to make moves like that, I'm sure he even was like, I'm sure HBO was like, we'll pay that, or maybe not.
Yeah, or maybe not. No, I'd rather go with maybe not. I'm sorry, but that's
but he
life.
did it.
He did it.
He did it.
He did it because I believe, and I remember I said to him one day, I said, Jimmy, I said, this has been going on for years now. I said, you refuse every talk show invitation. He said, yeah, I do. Except he did Actors Studio, which I get, Jim Lipton, you got to do his show,
absolutely.
Right? So I said, you never do any talk shows. He said, why the fuck does anybody want to know about me now? Because when I drove a cab and I tended bar, nobody gave a fuck about my life. So why should I talk about it now? Very cool move.
Yeah.
Because when you saw James Gandolfini, you saw him in character.
Yeah.
You didn't see him at 11:30 at night after the news, ha ha ha, hee hee, boop boop boop, on some fucked up talk show.
Sure.
And I admire him, and I'll tell you something. If I ever got to that caliber of fame, I wouldn't do it either.
Yeah.
This is different. This is intimate.
Yeah. No, I respect that. And I understand that. And I'll tell you, that's what made Gandolfini who he is.
Yeah.
Because whenever interviews I seen him do, he would always push them off on other people. So people say like,
oh yeah,
you know,
yeah,
how great
yeah.
is it to be Tony Soprano?
Yeah.
And he would say, well, we have some amazing writers.
Right,
Or, you know,
exactly.
he was like that guy. And sometimes, you know,
Self-effacing.
Yeah. And you know, they say legends never die, so you know we continue to say this. You know, the legacy will continue to live on, obviously, for every cast member that was involved in Sopranos, because Sopranos was more than just a TV show. You know, it became a lifestyle. It became an inspiration for a lot of other shows. You know, it was everything. So, you know,
it's it. Looking from the inside out, I remember many times. I wish I had like $1 for every time Jimmy would say, "Why is everybody saying that this is a dramatic television series?" He said, "I think it's funny. It's more like a sitcom." And there were so many stages of it where you said to yourself, "This is fucking funny."
Sure.
You know, because black humor is hysterical.
Sure.
Black in the sense of dark humor.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said, you know, I keep reading these things in the Post and the you know, the drama series Soprano. We're not a drama. We're a fucking, you know, it's a sideshow.
Yeah.
But what he brought to, I've seen him prepare for, and that's another thing. And I tell it to our students all the time. Don't think. Before the shot, before the scene, talk about the weather. And that's what we did. We talked about, hey, did you see that new car that's coming out? You see this? Or yeah, you going to that thing Saturday night? I don't know. I'm not sure if I want to go. Action, boom, you go into character. And we left it there. And as soon as you hear cut, we're still talking about the other shit.
Sure.
You just know when to go in and ping that sweet spot and then come out of it. And that's how he was. He told us always, don't think, just let's talk. When you hear action, just say the lines.
From the legend himself, James Gandolfini.
Yeah.
And you know, listen, Vince, we kind of went over the whole journey. You know, from mom and dad to a young paper boy to Mason to your own business to your pops, and you know, when you said your pops knew that you were serious about, you know, with business not business, meaning when you started acting.
Yeah.
Is it because he saw you? Because the guy, you know, obviously he did well for himself. So it's not like sometimes I'll tell people this story, not meaning your story, meaning the part of it, and most of them, their parents really didn't have much. So meaning like when they did,
well, we weren't wealthy.
well, I don't mean well off, but meaning like
we were
like
good.
some of these people were able to become actors or athletes or you know or entrepreneurs and buy their mother a house.
Yes,
you know, that's when they believe them.
Sure.
You know, because most of the time you think like, you know, these things can't be possible. Like I'm sure there's a point in time that you thought that you couldn't be an actor. And I'll tell you one thing, you could talk yourself right fucking out of it if you give yourself long enough.
You can talk yourself out of it. And that's what I tell my people in the workshop. When you wake up in the morning, you say to yourself, I'm an actor. Yeah, I got to go to my job right now at the bank or wherever, but I'm an actor.
Sure.
You've got to see it. You have to see it so it'll manifest.
Sure.
You do. You have to see it. You got to fake it till you make it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I believe in that. Listen, where can people, it's Vince __ Curatola on Twitter and Instagram?
No, it's on Instagram is Vince _ Curatola.
Yep. On Twitter, it's Vince
And
Curatola
Twitter,
straight up.
it's Vincent Curatola, all one.
And that's
no space.
CURATOLA.
And the workshop is the acting workshop with Vincent Curatola at gmail.com.
My God, you want a longer fucking thing?
I get paid to memorize.
All right, there we go. And then listen, what I also want people to do is check out virtualcons.com.
Yes, virtual cons. We're gonna.
So let me actually give people an understanding. Virtualcons.com is what was formed from Sopranos Con, since we're in a pandemic, but also it's going to be 24/7 cons, not only on Sopranos Con, Mob Movie Con, Boxing Con, but they're also going to be shout outs, similar to like Cameo. There's also going to be workshops. There's also going to be giveaways, exclusive merch. I mean, there's tons of things. And like I said, probably Tony Soprano's house is going to be involved in there, how you could either attend an event or do an Airbnb, something to that. But there's a lot. So head on over to virtualcons.com. They're personal friends of both of ours. And, you know, friends that became family.
Yeah.
So listen, check out Vince Curatola on Instagram and Twitter. Email
or if you want to shout out on Cameo,
Yeah, on Cameo.
I just recently started that.
And he's telling people, you know, this is not the fucking UN right now.
That's right. It's not the fucking, it's the fucking UN now.
Hey, there you go. Listen, Vince, thanks for great, you know, I mean, it's funny because he says to me, Maureen, you know, how long is this going to be? Like a half hour? And next thing you know, we're almost at fucking about an hour and 40 minutes. Anyway, listen, the internets are going to love, they love your character. You're a great person.
Thank you.
And thanks for sharing your journey.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for asking me to share it.
Of course. Internets, the one and only Vincent Curatola.